As a lawyer, I look at the document. It was curious. Number one, the judgment was obtained about 28th of November 2024. And the CTC, that is the certified true copy, was obtained about 6th December 2024. That was at least 7 months before the demise of Dr. Skruka, the editor. So ordinarily, if there was no mischief, we would have seen the judgment, yet the judgment did not surface until 2 or 3 days, no, about 4 days after the demise of editor. So it will be for chronic class of events, analysts to read the intent of a like in our own language, the intention of whoever product is about. When I was consulted, 2 options were available: either to appeal against the judgment for so many reasons, but chiefly because of what we call misjoinder of party. Misjoinder. In law, when you misjoin, it means you've not joined the proper person. That the person you brought in ought not to have been brought in. So if the wrong person was brought in, then it nullifies that whatever judgment. The other aspect is to is to appeal based on the contents of the judgment. Lastly, we could decide to overlook all this and take the judgment on its face value, which was what I recommended. That look, we don't have time to be beating about the bush or to be approaching the court and others. Let's just let bygone be bygone and advise the family to unite. Before then, they had been making moves to come back to the mainstream secondary ruling house. So, if we allow them to come in, 2 captains cannot man a ship. That ship will collapse or capsize. So, Dr. Otumba Adekunle Azan decided to resign, and we said we must enter into an MOU, that is Memorandum of Understanding. And the Memorandum of Understanding, Otumba Latiwoyim was proposed as the chairman of the Rebi, and my humble self, First Yusuf, was proposed as the deputy Rebi, deputy chairman, and Prince Pastor Jeremiah Olarinde Salami was proposed as the secretary because he had been acting as the secretary. After a lot of back and forth discussions, the Memorandum of Understanding was ratified and duly executed. Not long after, Otumba Adedoku Ajidagba decided to go to court to challenge the leadership of Dr. Yazan, and also Otumba Latif Oyemi. The case has not been able to make progress. So the next month is the date. But from what Otumba Ejapa told me, he was no longer interested in pursuing the matter. Fast forward, the Ogun State government invited us because we were writing back and forth. And we told the government our own position. When things fell apart at the center of the world, Otumba Latif was leading a group. Otumba Ajidagba Aridokun was also leading the group, and I was also leading the group. I called our own group for ruling house original. To some, that original was offensive because according to them, the portrait others has been fake. So the government invited us and they said, we should not read the 1959 Western Return Declaration on our stool, but we should read the current one, which is the selection, appointment, and recognition of obas and chiefs in Ogun State and for other related matters. So, otherwise called Oba and Chiefs Law of Ogun State. It was passed in 2021, but assented to by the governor in January 2022. I, as a lawyer, I call it the 2022 law because it became effective when it was assented to. As most people will call it 2021 law. But the law is here. I also have with me a copy of the declaration. In this new law, no provision for low rabies. So you can only have one low rabie. You can have deputy, you can have assistant, you can have vice, and all the rest. But the 1959 declaration allows for multiple low rabies. The uniqueness of the current one also allows for presentation of candidate or candidates. So, with the advice from the government, because the meeting, we had the SSG, we had the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, and we also had with us the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs. So we left Abeokuta that evening, and they were asking lots of questions about the conduct of the various units. And government council or admonish us not to collect money from candidates, but without prejudice to the gift of customary or traditional things. Like, we know, Somilongo Nile Oba, ni part of Oba. So those collecting money were warned not to do. and the money collected were directed to refund the money. So but before we were invited, some of us had already started inviting nominations from our members. At the end of the day, Otumba Woyemi had about 40 candidates. Otumba Agidagba had 46. And I had 10. So we came back home and we decided to put our house in order. And we set up a 12-man structure, 4 members from each, from 4 from Otumba Woyemi's faction, 4 from Agidagba's faction, and 4 from our own faction, in 12. Seemingly, we were working in tandem and all the rest. But the curious thing is, the 3 units did not allow each of the other units to see their candidates, to know what was happening and all the rest. So, as we were about completing that, we got a message halting the process. And we were also invited to Abeokuta, where they told us, or they showed us evidence that the local government did not follow due process, and that we have to start the process all over. Eventually, I think on the 6th of January, we got a letter asking us to produce candidates within 14 days as provided under the law. The requirements are spelled out in this law, and we decided to convene at this Oladipo Hall near Igbeba. We set up another committee to take charge of that, which did this. It was there we discovered that some people are doing forum shopping. That is, some submitted their applications in 3 places. With me, with Otumba Agidagba, and with Otumba Woyemi. And it was quite simple. Every candidate needed to have somebody to nominate him and somebody to second his nomination. So that was done. Out of 96 names, only 86 met this criterion. That is, getting somebody to nominate and somebody to second. And we got a document from the kingmakers which they call guidelines for the selection of the voters. So we gave to every candidate in the field and all the rest. So those were the things that were contained in the Ghana must go back that were brought to the palace. So when we had the meeting, with the kingmakers, some issues arose, and they were saying that whoever was or whoever is an October cannot become a king. And he said it also, we are talking about Abidagba, candidate from the male line, candidate from the female line, and others. My contention as a lawyer is that one, that is not provided for in this Obas and Chiefs law. Secondly, it is discriminatory. Thirdly, it is against the spirit and letter of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Either they are from the female line or male line. The prince is a prince, the princess is a princess. And the issue of Abiragba is not provided for here. Even in the 1959 declaration, it says you give preference to a prince from, who is an Abiragba. But where there is none, you take from any of the children of a particular king. And where you cannot find something always suitable, to take from the female line. So it's here. But what is worrisome is that in the compilation of the names to be forwarded to the kingmakers and Fubaje, some names were highlighted in bold print. This is very curious and unacceptable. Why this should be, one will not know. Those who did it to be able to explain. Regrettably, the compilation was done in my office here and my library upstairs, but I did not participate and I did not interfere. On the day we were going to submit in the palace, initially they said 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. But by the time they brought it to, was it 10 or 11? I was not aware. I was just dressing up and they said, everybody was in my conference room, that they needed me to come to append my signature to the documents that are taken to the palace. And I came, I appended my signature. But after the submission, I wanted to see what I even signed. It was then I saw that some names were highlighted in bold print. And I started wondering why this was so. So, a lot of stories, a lot of rumors started flying. I must also say that at this stage, that some of our colleagues here have dealt with me in the law court. Some of them have disparaged me in the past. I thought that from next week I will have time for them. But I will surely take some of my colleagues here. I don't know if there are some of them are here. I will surely take them to court to go and track out our issues. Because if you engage in yellow journalism, jaundice journalism, and they will be fishing in troubled waters, I think we need to sort that out. The court will have to decide. So, I'm clamoring for transparency, fairness, and justice in the exercise. I believe we must, like Caesar's wife, live above reproach. If we are going to equity. We must approach equity with clean hands. No prince nor princess must be seen or must have his or her hands soiled. I must say that the activities and behavior of some of us are quite unpalatable and quite unroyal. They don't represent the very ideal of royalty. Some of you may also want to ask me about the current issues, the suspension of the exercise, and the various stories flying about. As a journalist and as a lawyer, I don't deal with rumors and speculations, but I confirm that the family received a letter from the local government halting the exercise and making reference to the section that empowers the government to take such a decision. There are many things. The letter is in the public domain, and I've also been privileged to reading several responses, some making sense, some making nonsense, and some fallacious, some conjectural. But the truth of the matter now is that the exercise is suspended and we are waiting for that directive from the government. The issue I want to emphasize is that disqualifying Otumba installed by the immediate pastor Wujari will be illegal, will be nonsensical, and will be turning history upside down. There's no way it's written that if you become an Otumba, you cannot aspire to be an Oba. There are many instances within the land. When I was in government, we installed Oba Folonsho, the Ajanar of Ijebufe. Before he became Ajanar, he was an Otumba, and there was even a kingmaker. He was not disqualified. And there were others. Otumba Gundi, who was to become the Moyeges of Itile, was an Otumba, the accountant, and many others. So the title of Otumba is not deceptive. It's honorary. It's not traditional. No Otumba is an Afobaje. For example, I'm a chief, I'm also a prince, but I'm not an Afobaje. And I'm also the secretary of Council of Chiefs. So if we have preconceived notion or we are focused on candidates, let us be manly enough to say it out, not bringing in extraneous points. And I think I have addressed those issues that I felt I should discuss. But I will welcome comments, questions, and contributions from my colleagues. Thank you. off record. You want me to give you breakfast or what? Or you don't need lunch? Okay. Or brunch? Brunch? Okay. From OU.
Bold news.
Bold news.
Yes, sir. And when you are addressing us, you raise the point that you ask questions about those names being highlighted. Please, I want to know your question, who you directed it to, and possible response from those who directed that person.
The committee that prepared the list.
Yes. No, they highlight. See, they highlight some names.
Some names.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was now raise some question in you, which I want to know who you direct those questions. Why? Why are they highlighted?
I said my observation is directed to those who compiled the list.
Yes, so what are the likely response from your them? Those are the response to that observation.
I've not got any response. I've not got any response. Yes. There's a lady here.
Yes.
After the lady, yourself, sir. Yes.
My name is Olasana from the Vice President. I still want to ask from that question you raised, because as a learning person, as a journalist, as somebody who has been here and there, I am of the opinion, sir, that someone always says, no, don't trust no one. I'm of the opinion, sir, that putting your signature on that kind of delicate and sensitive document, you should have just asked, or let me see what is in that document, or put in your signature. Because it might be mild, but we don't know where this is taken because you've already signed. And it's an afterthought that after your signature, you now see some discrepancies and all that. So, sir, I'm thinking that because if there's going to be anything, you've already put in your signature. So that is number one. Then number two, sir.
Are you judging me?
No,
or you're asking a question?
I'm asking a question that okay, what will be possible? Whatever will happen, I've already signed. Now, the second one, sir, is I just want us to clarify some things because some of us are still new in the stores and all that. I had at the palace when there's some of these royal sons from Sebua were talking and said some of the leaders, in fact, they said the three leaders are not actually from the Sebua family. So can you actually clarify that here now so that people know that we're hearing this from the right source? Thank you so much, sir.
Well, you've raised two issues.
Yes, sir.
I've told you that I did not look at the document critically. They had signed before I came in, and accordingly I appended my signature. But the point is, we all make mistakes, and I accepted I made a mistake by endorsing the document without reading. I thought they would have done a good job. And if I wanted to nose into the activities, they were doing it in my office. I would have come in to check them. But we gave the job to people that believe were responsible. And there was no need for us to be going through what they did. So if I append my signature to something and I later discover that there is an error, I can withdraw my signature. As a lawyer, I can depose to an affidavit that yes, an error was made and I want to correct myself. So there is nothing sacrosanct about that. There's nothing absolute about that. The other issue you raise is I am 71 years old. Now, who said it? Let the person face me. If it's not, the person was not my father, was not my mother. So let him say whatever he wants to say. If he doubts my paternity, let him conduct the DNA. And of course, let me tell you that no court can force any adult to conduct the DNA. If you want to prove his case, and the law says whoever alleges must prove. So tell that person to prove that I am not the son of my father. Because some of them are calling me Kobo. I had everything. So that's why I'm taking some of them to court. So that they come and prove. Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
You don't want to say, you don't want to say.
So I told them to try it 15, right? 15 to mix it for everybody's right.
Go ahead, sir.
My name is Osman. I have 2 questions for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
First, I would like you to make us understand what capacity are you addressing this conference. As a deputy, you are head of house as what? This was very good to know. And we talk about the government instructing that funds should be refunded. So far, how much have you refunded? How much did you want to realize?
Is that all?
Hold on, sir.
You've asked 3 questions.
That's the
You have said you have a question.
third one, sir. You said you submitted 10 things. With that, don't you think you are making the job difficult for the kingmakers? Why 10? Why 45 and all? Thank you, sir.
Yes. The first one was about what now?
In what capacity are you addressing this conference?
Yes, sir. I'm addressing the media as a major stakeholder. Number 2, my capacity as the Secretary of the Council of Chiefs. Thirdly, I'm addressing this gathering in my capacity as the Vice Chairman of the Football Ruling House. Number 4, I'm addressing this gathering as a legal practitioner. And number 5, I'm addressing this gathering as a chronicler of events as a journalist. The Constitution allows me to make people to account for their activities. Thank you, sir. Number 2, you talked about money rallies, am I right?
Yeah.
Well, my own group will not collect money from anybody. We allowed free collection of funds, free submission. That's not to say that some of them did not contribute some amount for the running of the secretariat. And I'd like to tell you that we have not touched a couple of that money. We opened an account with FCMB. We are not even thinking of collecting any amount. When we got a letter from FCMB that we should provide certificate of registration, they collected the money, they don't ask for any certificate of registration. When they thought we'd be coming to collect our checkbook, so then they said we should bring certificate of registration. I, as a lawyer and as the chairman of that unit, I don't have that time yet. When I have that time, they will have to pour out the money. If we cannot operate the account with them, we can collect our money. If we are not touching a cover. So that's better. Then the third one, no, I'm not going to cry. No. The kids, they eat. Behind the seat, from the front seat, in front of me.
So you can sit there.
Yes.
Then,
No.
Okay.
In front of this thing, yes. Sir, the last question of the third one.
Yes, can I remind you with the follow-up, sir?
Follow up. No, let me answer the question before you follow up on anything.
Okay.
What was the third question you asked?
On the number of candidates.
The candidate, yes, I said, look, the law does not allow us to stop anybody from applying. If you are at this road on that day, after exhausting our list, we still call for nominations from the floor. If contestants wanted to organize themselves, they would have limited themselves. But if they decide to nominate everybody, it's the responsibility of the kingmakers to screen them in or out. They know the criteria they will adopt. They know the weight they will attach to each nomination and all the rest. So it's not the responsibility of the ruling out to limit, because what the law says is candidate or candidates. And that number is infinitesimal. It's as many as possible. Is there another one you want to follow up?
Yes, sir. Quick one, sir. You said you are addressing this in the capacity as a vice chairman of the board. I'd like to ask, being the vice chairman, does it give you the right to also put up your own or to work with the chairman instead? Because in a contemporary understanding of the vice, you are supposed to work in alignment with whoever is the head. That was put some clarity.
So are you saying that what I'm doing now is not in alignment?
I was supposed to put some clarity.
No, are you saying that what I'm doing is not in alignment?
And what I said.
Many of you have interviewed the chairman. Many of you have interviewed the the deputy chairman. Why didn't you ask them that question? Why are you asking me? And I've told you it's my constitutional right to hold opinion, to ventilate my views. I don't need the approval for anybody to speak, as long as I'm within the confines of the law. As I was in court, I got a message from the chairman asking me to put the press conference on hold and all the rest. And I sent a message to him that it's my constitutional right to speak, and I don't need the permission of anybody to speak. And in any case, when he was addressing the press, did he get the permission of anybody? The vice chairman too, when he was speaking, did anybody authorize him to speak? So why are you now asking me that question? You're not being fair to me. You're not being objective. I hope you're not sent here to ask me that question.
Well, for clarity, sir, not sent here by anybody.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity.
I've satisfied your curiosity now.
So my name is Dayo. I write for the Times.
Igu. Gateway Times.
Good news as well.
Okay.
You spoke predominantly about the integrity and sanctity of the Afghanistan society. There have been so many stories flying around on the alleged financial engagement of these slave makers that are not respecting some of the parties have been said DSS and ESP should come in and investigate the alleged competence. What's your question on this?
Well, in my speech, I said whoever alleges must prove.
Yes.
If it is founded, then they should be in for it. But I, as a lawyer, as a journalist, when I'm not a social disruptor, I'm not a social chaos, I'm not a social disaster. So I cannot be speculating. If anybody has taken bribe and there's a proof, let the law take its course. Let the SSS, let the police do their job. I mean, it should be very sad and very unfortunate if the process is compromised. If any kingmaker or any member of the ruling house soils his hand, woe will be tied that person. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
My name is Juliet from Supervision. So, as a lawyer, I just want to ask you your position on the descendant of the premature and nature selection. So,
I've told you, they have equal right as the bill. That is the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You cannot be discriminated on because you are a lady. In fact, there's some other crimes. And even right in Nigeria, it's only the woman that know the father of a child. You might be thinking you are the father. And the woman will just be saying, whereas 2, 3, 4 men have been mounting the lady. So, if you are a female child, you'll be denied your rights. The Supreme Court has made a lot of pronouncements on that nobody should be discriminated upon on the basis of sex or in gender. So they have equal rights by the Constitution. And don't forget that the Constitution is superior to whatever tradition or custom. No, let's listen to another one.
Good afternoon, my name is Yusuf from St. Kitts. My question is, while you were talking, while you were reading your speech,
I didn't read this speech.
when you were talking, you said that, from my understanding, there is no correlation between the three parties that join together to form the Shaiban leaders. That is the
That was your own understanding.
Yeah.
No question.
You said you were together, but you were not really showing yourself the facts of your matters. That is the list of your candidates. Mr. A does not know what Mr. B owns, and Mr. B does not know what Mr. C owns. And that amounts to your having to submit up to 95 candidates, as a nomination of whatever. Now my question is this: how do you intend the kingmakers to pick one person or two person from the 95 people you submitted to them? Or they're just like, and they have accused, they said that because you have collected money from everybody.
Who, me?
Everybody.
Who collect the specific?
Everybody.
Collected money from everybody.
Yeah, you collected money from everybody, so you're not trying, you don't want to leave anybody behind. So because of that, now pack all of them submitted to the kingmakers. Now, I want you to actually explain that very clearly, so I know what to write for that discussion.
Well, as I said, I had 10 candidates. Regrettably, some of these 10 were forum shopping. They also submitted their applications in 2 other places. Why they did that, I do not know. Perhaps they were not sure whether Francis Group will be relied upon or others. You know, if those of you who read economics, you know what you call risk aversion. Maybe the risk they did not want to take. So that was why. But I can tell you authoritatively that I, Francis Adetokunbo Yusuf, a more balanced man, Gbogbo, did not collect kobo from anybody. I've told you that the donations they even gave to my group are still intact. We've not collected the kobo from there. Okay? So I can speak for myself. Please don't join them in mentioning my name. I will sue you. If you are sure of what you are doing, please mention my name. If you are not sure, please don't mention. It doesn't cost me anything to go to court. It's you, listen, I'm not finished, madam. It doesn't cost me anything to go to court. That's my house. My second home. It's you that will hire a lawyer to prove. Like I said earlier, whoever alleges must prove. And I told you earlier that I had that some people collected money, but I cannot deal with speculations. I don't have any facts. It's not a responsibility to investigate anybody. It's the responsibility of the police and the FCC or ICPC. Extreme cases, State Security Service. So I cannot be investigating them. But if you have proof, please bring it forward. When you talk about being coercive, people do things depending on the perception of events. I told you why my own group, initially, we had 3 factions. So when we collapsed the 3 factions to one, because I'm the youngest among them, Otumba Oyemi is about 89, Otumba Jinagba is 81, and I'm 71. So I was the one that proposed that I would be the vice chairman, because I cannot be ambitious. Because I believe that ambition should be made of standard stuff. I was not even interested in becoming anything. What happened was, 2 years ago, the Obas from our ruling has approached me to help them talk to Abuja Adetono to approve Otumba Adekunle Hassan to become the Orebi following the exit of Otumba Michael Olajuwon Balogun, CON. And I went to Kabesi. I spoke with him. I said, Fasi, wọ́n lẹ̀ ọmọ ayọ̀ ń yọ lẹ́nu ni ọmọ tó yọ kulé náà lẹ́nu ni ṣé wàhálà tó kó sí òtítù ni family ló rán mi bla 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 bla. Eventually when the pressure was much, Kabisi succumbed and he said I should bring all the prayer fathers in our family, and I brought them from Ijebu, from Lagos State, like some members from Ekpe, they descended from Ijebu. Some of us from Agbowa, some from Egbi in Ikorodu, some from Langbasa. We brought them. The work Kabisi agreed, and the Kaloro was brought, and Ottoman Dr. Kule Hassan was made the Oloremi. So when he wanted to resign, he said, look, I have no need to that I should be the deputy Oloremi. By that time, Ottoman Adedokun Ajidagba was not in the picture. He was running on his own parallel group. So it was when the state government warned us that, look, they will move to another ruling house if we are not cohesive. That's when we came together. But then, I guess the three groups had committed themselves to. I was willing to release my own list to them, but when they were not willing, there was no way I could force them. So mine was the list, just 10. Out of the 10, about seven of them had their applications in these other places. So what do you do to that? 40, 46, 10.
So that's what made 96
Yes.
that was submitted. But my question is, why was it hard for the Olori Ebis to reduce this to appropriate numbers before submitting?
I told you that the law does not allow us to reduce the number. If anybody gets up to say, I'm interested, and is nominated and seconded, you have to take it. It's the job of the kingmakers. Yes.
All right, thank you.
No.
Anybody? Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
My name is Femi Habib from City. Sir, it seems to be the long voice against the list of candidates submitted to the candidates. And you said that out of the names, 10 candidates comes from you. Can we assume that you agreed simply because none of your candidates make the list, the names highlighted?
Number one, it is offensive to natural justice for you to unilaterally highlight some names and relegate other names. It's my right to contest if I wanted to contest, but I decided not to contest because it was and is still not my focus. If I assume I'm contesting now, or I contest at then I cannot practice my law again. I cannot lecture again in the university. And everybody, if you look at the Maslow hierarchy of needs, the peak there is a self-actualization. After self-esteem, self-actualization. You want to actualize yourself. Some people will run away. Okay, you were born into this world. You now have some people decided to take up celibacy. What do you say to that? That is his choice, or that's our choice. So, if I decide to be what I am, I could use Prince, I could become Otumba, but I chose to be a chief. I got after my PhD, and in any case, in some disciplines, you don't need a PhD to become a professor. But I got a PhD. I also became a professor. That is self-actualization. Some people will say, look, if I did what the first degree to me, some people say, look, at the end of the day, we have to tell everybody we are looking for money. Why do I have to go through all this education and others? I remember several years back, or not several, many years back, when I was going for my MBA in UK. Some people thought I was crazy. They thought I was living well. But I didn't need the MBA. So I now imagine myself, if I didn't go for that MBA program, where would I be today? When I was in government, I started reading law. But I didn't read the law now. At this age, what will I be doing? And you know, once you become complacent and you're not doing anything, nature aborts a lacuna, nature aborts a vacuum. You will rot away at home. All your bones or your this thing, you become so old. But once you are active, you are still moving about, then you're exercising your bones and all the rest, your brain. That is why you see some graduates after about 20 or 30 years, they cannot write simple English because you've allowed the brain to rest and to be idle. So I hope I've been able to answer your question. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I just wanted to tell this out, sir. The government have come openly denying that they have not imposed a candidate into the process, which has led to the shutting down of the palace. And they threatened as well that any journalist that published what was not said by the state government will be severely punished. Sir, we want you to shed the light on it because as at 2 days ago, Otuba said there was an overnight meeting that they want to impose a candidate into the process. Sir, we want clarity, sir.
Regrettably, I'm not Otumba Jiraga.
Yes, sir.
When I request that you book an appointment with him and ask him to confirm the veracity of that statement.
Yes.
Number one, I don't have any evidence that the government threatened to deal with any journalist. No government can deal with any journalist if you operate within the confines of the law. You are supposed to be purveyors of news. It is when you go outside the realm or beyond the dictates of the law or the constitution, that's when you fall. So some of you have done this. Some of you engage yourself in yellow journalism, speculating journalism, and it's unprofessional. It's unprofessional. I teach media, I teach media law and ethics, and I've said most social media are social disruptors. There are social chaos and social disasters. That's not to say that you don't have some very good ones among them. There must, even within the legal profession, there are some bad ones, some bad eggs. Within the judiciary, there are some bad eggs. But justice, equity, fairness to be our watchwords. I'm not aware that government has decided to clamp down on any journalist. I don't have, if you have any this in there, even if you fall it to me, it may still be within the realm of speculation. And to my idea, is not the kingmaker. So it will be able to tell you where he got his information. And I cannot speak for you, I'm not the spokesman. Yes, sir. Lesiku.
The second one is concerning the divisions among the Sebuah family, sir. I was still asking, sir, what are the please,
If you want, we are